Welcome back to This Week in History, the one where Great Britain gives Hong Kong back to China, but makes China promise to play nicely. And we answer the question, what are the roots of the current crisis in Hong Kong? Now, I don't know if you know this, but Great Britain used to have the largest empire in the world. And the old saying went, "The sun never sets on the British Empire." And it didn't. And one of the places it touched was China. In the mid to late 1800s, the British and the Chinese fought a series of wars known as the Opium Wars, and they lasted a long time. But the end result was that the Chinese lost, and they ended up giving a territory we know today as Hong Kong to the British with a 99-year lease. As the years went by, Hong Kong operated independent of China with a British governor. In the 1940s, communists led by Mao Zedong took control of China, and Hong Kong became a refuge place for people who were trying to escape the wrath of the communists. And they lived a relatively Western lifestyle. But as we got to the end of the 20th century, that 99-year lease was about to run out. So here was the dilemma. China wanted Hong Kong back, and the British wanted the people of Hong Kong to continue to live a democratic capitalist lifestyle. This week in 1984, they signed the Chinese-British Joint Declaration. This is an oversimplification, but Hong Kong would rejoin China. They would be one country, but with two systems. The people who lived in Hong Kong would still have a bit of a democracy, along with a capitalist economy. And this would be a binding resolution until 2047. Why do they do these long-term agreements? The Hong Kong handoff happened in 1997. But since that time, the Chinese government has done everything in its power to invalidate the treaty. And whenever the Chinese-British Joint Declaration is brought up, the Chinese government refers to it as, quote, a historic document that has no bearing. In other words, they have no intentions of honoring it. Now we've seen 6 months of intense, almost rebellion-like pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong by the people there who want to maintain their lifestyle, while the Chinese government is fighting to suppress it. At this point, Great Britain doesn't have its dominant influence as a world power to enforce the joint resolution, so the responsibility, should we choose to accept it, falls on the United States. So if you don't believe there's a crisis of international proportions going on right now in Hong Kong, it might be time for you to wake up, LeBron. Hey, thanks for watching This Week in History. We're pretty sure this one won't be shown in China either, but if it is, give us a like and a subscribe, and if it's not, please don't hack us. And we'll see you next week on This Week in History.